The pigeons, believe it or not, this year took all the buds off the wisteria. The house is lovely, but the garden is so important. It's the place I go to the moment I arrive back home. I felt as though I was very much RHS and Whiley, doing my own trials. We're talking the same language.
We are. Hi, I'm Jo Whiley and welcome to another episode of Roots, where I'll be talking to and gardening with one of the UK's most loved and well-known chefs and gardeners. Let's meet the wonder that is Mary Berry. Mary Berry in the garden. Thank you for having us round.
Well, it's the place I love being in.
So tell me what you're doing today. I'm going to help you if that's okay.
A pair of gloves there, yes.
Yep.
I'm doing a nice large pot of Alstroemeria. Now, these are the short ones. I think they're about 18 inches high and perfect for a pot. But I like them most to pick. And I've got them back behind me here. And I've made a little frame so they don't topple over. And they'll go right through till November.
Wonderful. Any colours that you particularly enjoy that you grow?
No orange.
Okay.
And I like the pinks.
Yes.
The pinks and the whites. It's just the way that I like. And obviously they're not blue, but I put blue with them from other plants.
Is this a rule throughout your entire garden? So you don't have orange and yellow in the garden?
Oh, in the spring I have lots of yellow.
Oh, okay.
But in the summer, not much yellow.
Yeah.
And it's all the soft colours.
Yes. Okay.
And these are very healthy plants. And I gave you a bang on the bottom. That's it.
Okay.
And I've got just the right space there for it.
Lovely. I'll do some backfilling just here.
Hole here.
When did you become a gardener? When did gardening play a part in your life?
Well, my book agent, Felicity Bryan, said when our children were, going to school and I wasn't seeing so much of them latterly and leaving school, she said, you'll have more time and you'll go and enjoy the garden and do gardening. And she was absolutely right. Suddenly when they leave the nest, there's a gap.
Yeah.
And you have that wonderful thing called time.
Which you just don't have. When children are younger, you're just consumed, aren't you? You're just busy all the while. And also the garden is used for different purposes, I think, when you have small children.
Yes, and the lawn was like a football pitch, and they were always on the flower beds and things, and then they respect it, and also they come and help you pick flowers and realise that fresh herbs are lovely from the garden.
Yeah. Did it take persuading? I bet they didn't when they were younger.
When they were younger, they'd just walk over the flower beds and be shouted at. But now all both the children that we have now they are keen gardeners.
Are they?
Oh, absolutely. And they love it.
So tell me about the area where we are now. So was it always like this?
Not at all. When we came to view the house, this was about 6 foot high, covered in brambles, because I gather when they built an indoor swimming pool, which we no longer have, in a separate building, they just put the earth here at dead easy. Well, we didn't want it there. I wanted that extra space for some veggies. And so we had it all cleared and built these raised beds in brick, which is lovely because in my true dotage, I'll be able to sit down and, sow herbs and admire things as well as actually do things.
And also, it's just really nice to have different heights, I think, in the garden. So what do you grow in here? This is the vegetable and fruit area.
Yes, we grow what we eat. And so we've got a lot of salad things. There's one purely down to asparagus and strawberries over there. And already the netting is over because the birds they like this garden and they pinch things. And of course the greenhouse is very near and I can bring things on.
Yeah, lovely. And what is the biggest pests that you have in the garden? You mentioned the birds. So slugs, snails, squirrels?
We've got just squirrels. I am not first friend of squirrels. They're up on my bird tables and things. But I have to tolerate them.
Yeah, of course. And then slugs and snails. Now you've got
Pigeons.
and pigeons as well.
The pigeons, believe it or not, this year took all the buds off the wisteria. So normally we have a wonderful wisteria, but each one they took all the young flowers off.
Oh my God, I didn't even know they did that.
Neither did I, and I wasn't pleased.
That's tragic. Oh my God, I'd be gutted, absolutely gutted. You've got a beautiful area of hostas as well.
Yes. we have a very ancient listed conker tree, and it was just there on its own. And so what we did was to put a dry stone wall around it, and then put earth in it, and we just grow hostas, which is such a joy, and hellebores as well for the winter. And it's so exciting when they come through. And the slugs and snails don't climb dry stone walls.
Clever.
And also my son's a tree surgeon, so he delivers us bark, and we have a lot of bark underneath that. And it really does stop the predators.
Wonderful. And I'm so excited to be here, and I'd love to see more of the garden. Will you take me on a tour?
Absolutely, definitely. Come on, let's go.
Okay, leave the gloves behind.
Those need a good water, by the way. I'll do it on my way back.
Okay, lovely. So Mary, we'll leave the vegetable garden. I can see your beautiful hostas over there, but we're going to turn into this area. Tell me where we are now.
This is the main lawn area, and we can play croquet here. And when we came, there was sort of stepping stones to the tennis court, and all you could see was the tennis court. And so we put yew hedges in, and they had leafy hose, so that made them grow quickly. We didn't have them sort of very low, because how many years would it take to grow? And so we had them about that height, and here they are at 6 foot in 6 years.
And they're doing exactly what you wanted them to do, so to screen the tennis court, but also to give the garden that lovely enclosed feel.
A little room here, and then you sort of walk through past the urns, and we're trying to make the hedge with shoulders, and so we've let it grow like that, and we're getting our shoulders. You know, it's always so much to do in the garden, and I enjoy a new sort of challenge every year.
And the garden, it looks like it's filled with artefacts and things that have memories, and also plants and shrubs that have memories. So the urns that we can see behind us, tell me about those.
Well, we had them in the other house by a meadow, and my husband's boss died, and he had no relations, and he left a little bit of money, and I immediately said, that's not going on the gas bill, and we bought them, and so it was essential that we brought them with us. And the spirals here, Thomas, our son, was married 26 years ago, and there they are. And we've got them in pots, and we've taken the bottom of the pot out, so the roots have gone down. We look out for the moth, and we feed them and look after them.
And with the garden, I can see the roses to the side of us as well. And, you know, gardens tell a lot about a person's personality. So tell me, and your passions as well.
Well, these are Chandos Beauty, and they're planted quite close together, and they have brand new soil in, and root grow when we put them in, and they're grown by Harkness, and they're British grown, and they have wonderful foliage, a marvellous scent. They're vigorous, and they smell beautiful, and they're last in the vase. What more do you want?
What more do you want? I know in my garden I've got various roses. They remind me of friends who've died, friends who aren't here. And so when they come out in bloom every year, there's my friend Tim, there's my friend Willie. And it's lovely. They kind of live on in your garden. And I think, are there memories of things in your garden that remind you of people or moments?
Well, the pond reminds me of a very great friend, Penny, and we put an inscription on the side in memory of dear Penny. I used to run Arga workshops, and she was always by my side, a keen cook, and she'd say, when I was wittering on, she'd say, and the souffle's ready. She stopped me burning things, and so there she is. I look at her every day.
And what does this garden say about your personality, do you think?
I think I'm pretty organised, and I love doing things ahead. So I do make sure that we keep up each year with all the jobs that have got to be done at the right time of year. I get behind, and I've learnt not to try and do things too early, not to plant out too early, because if you do, you lose them.
Yes. So in your garden, or maybe in your vegetable garden, have you done anything different this year? Have you tried anything for the first time?
Well, I noticed in good supermarkets you could buy something called kale. I am not a fan of kale. I don't mind it crispy that's been in a restaurant, but I'm not very fond of kale. So Kaylet. They are like little sprouts and they grow on a long stalk. And then on the stalk, you get developing these little gatherings of Kaylet. At the end of the summer, there they were, just when I hadn't other vegetables, and you picked them off, and they were absolutely delicious. They do take up a lot of room, and I had to net them, fine netting from the white butterflies, but otherwise quite successful.
Wow, good personal trial.
Personal trial. I felt as though I was very much RHS and Whiley, doing my own trials, but I haven't really got room for much.
And tell me, gardening or cooking, which do you love most?
Do you know, it certainly was cooking, but now I think gardening, they're on an even keel. I am enjoying gardening and learning every day.
Okay, but on that theme, can we have some cake?
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Oh my gosh, this is heaven. Tell me about the cake that we're about to eat.
It's a blueberry cake. And it's got icing in cream and lemon curd.
Oh my gosh.
I wonder if it'll stand up for us. There it is.
Yay, look at that.
And the blueberries sink to the bottom of the cake. Then you sandwich it together so the blueberries are either side of the cream.
Oh, I'm so excited about this. Thank you so much. We're sat by your beloved roses here. What's it like in the evening?
Well, if it's a daylight today, you couldn't be in a better place. The sun sets here, and with a glass in your hand, and perhaps a supper, a one-pot dish, because of the washing up, couldn't be better.
Do you cook every day? You're
We have a simple supper every day. And this sort of weather, always salad at lunch.
Always salad, lovely. Which comes from your garden, I presume.
Some of the pieces come from the garden, yes.
What does your garden mean to you? Is it possible to put it into words?
The house is lovely, but the garden is so important. It's the place I go to the moment I arrive back home, straight out in the garden, pick up a watering can and check everything. And I feel revived.
And do you have much help in this garden? Because it's quite big.
Well, we've had Kevin for 35 years, and he has quite a drive to get to us just once a week. And 7:30 in the morning, I'm out there with my list, and I try to be at home that day too. And we're very fortunate. He loves it as much as I do, and if we don't know what it is, he'll look it up.
And is there a favourite time of day for you in the garden? When do you particularly enjoy being in the garden?
Oh, I think it's first thing in the morning when the sun is rising and you see the whole thing develop.
And if I took you to an island, a fantasy island, so just imagine, what would you take with you? If it was a plant, what would you take, or a flower?
I think I'd like to take my Chandos beauties. We've had them in the last house and now in this house. I think they're so beautiful and they smell so good.
And your tool, what would it be? I think every gardener has a favourite implement that they use in the garden.
I have always a pair of secateurs, lightweight ones, in my back pocket, and I just always find something to snip or to tidy, or even if you're on a walk, you're cutting a bramble back. They're my go-to.
That's the mark of a true gardener. If you go to someone else's garden and you just can't stop yourself meddling in other people's gardens as well, or in the wild. And is there anything that's not allowed in your garden? Are there any plants that you absolutely loathe?
I would never have a shrub that had prickles. Because, when you come to prune it, you damage yourself. And I'm not very fond of orange. And I love the soft pinks, whites, blues, little bit of red. And foliage is so important. And I love things that smell. The lily of the valley, can't wait.
What about the gardening community? Because I think people are very, very keen to share, aren't they? And they seem very lovely people. Who have you met along the way and who do you admire?
Well, I often used to go to Whiley, and Matt Potash, so generous when we're walking around telling me when to plant, what to do. I'm a great fan of Gardener's World. Alan Titchmarsh, I do various things with, child bereavement and things. And I've all of those speak slowly, clearly, and understand that I don't know everything. Indeed, I don't. I'm still learning.
And we always will. There's never an end point,
We
I don't
will.
think. And this other one here has been very faithful while we've been talking throughout the day today. What about your pets in the garden? What have they meant to you?
Oh, do you know, Freddie? Freddie is always, he's like a little limpet, follows me around. And also, I find myself chattering away to him. And he's always following me wherever I go. And I talk to him. He understands that I like peace, and he doesn't answer back.
And he doesn't eat the cake either. He's been so well behaved.
So far, so good.
Okay, shall we enjoy the cake? And thank you so much for having us round.
It's been a sheer pleasure. There's something about having another gardener here. We're talking the same language.
We are. No, I've loved it. I've loved being here. Thank you.
And we've had some.
Have a nice day.